see RadioActive as part of a critical shift in public media. Young people are missing from traditional media. It's not uncommon to read an entire article about education and not hear a single student's voice. We want to change that. We want to help create a world where youth voice is respected and expected. We want to see the end of the unpaid internship that leads to newsrooms of people who could afford to not get paid for an entire summer or year. It's our hope that radioactive youth, no matter what they do, move through their careers knowing their worth. KUOW's mission is to create and serve a more informed public, and RadioActive does just that. We think of our program as a discovery program. It's definitely true we have those students who already love podcasts and they want to become journalists. But we also have those students who have never heard of NPR before, and maybe they don't see themselves or their communities reflected in most news coverage. RadioActive is especially for those young people.
You are asked to bring your true, authentic self to RadioActive. Whether you're a teen or an adult, we want you to be you. I actually think that makes for great storytelling and great radio when you can be your true self and share part of that. That's what storytelling is all about, and that's what RadioActive is all about.
After a program, we usually hear youth say, "Oh, I thought I would get better at writing, or I'd learn how to use audio editing equipment." They do learn those things, but they also become more confident, more likely to raise their hand in class, and more likely to engage with the news and what's happening in their communities.
I see them tell their stories and gain confidence and power and authority, authenticity, and I see them carry that down the road.
I ended up having just, an amazing set of opportunities that were accessible because of RadioActive that I don't think I otherwise would have been able to engage with.
Online, RadioActive was probably better than even in-person things. It was just, everybody was so kind and welcoming, and you could just feel the community and the humanity through the computer screen.
Everyone supporting you with no judgment at all.
Just hearing everyone be so vulnerable and open, even through the screen, I was just wow.
I will often turn to the other staff members after a long day and be I'm so moved by how open they are. They hear each other, they listen to each other, but they share their lives and their struggles in an open way that adults don't always do. And that is deeply moving and deeply powerful.
By the end, I was really surprised how I really wanted to stay connected because it was just a really great environment. I feel even over Zoom, you could tell everybody was really genuine and everybody really liked what they were doing, and the staff and the mentors, and everybody was really just really nice.
I've never been to a camp where everybody was so outgoing and was willing to just talk through and talk about anything.
Having a community through Zoom is really surprising because I thought majority of the time it was going to be awkward.
It was really nice to be together with a bunch of people who sort of have that same drive and that same motivation.
Everyone put in 300% of what they needed to, and it really felt like no matter where you turn, no matter what happens with your story, there's always someone there who's watching your back.
They say one of the best ways you learn something is by teaching it. And that couldn't have been more true, being able to come back and join from the other perspective that's helping create and put together the workshop was something that really, I think, even further drove my passion for these areas. And it also felt really gratifying to be able to see other people and see their spark. People would come in a little nervous like I was, and you could really quickly see the light turn on when they realized, wow, my voice also matters.
There's a strong need right now that we can help fill. Young people need an outlet to express themselves and process what's going on. They need a community that gets them and cares about them. They want a challenge. They want to learn new things that they're genuinely curious about. And they want something positive. They want something to look forward to.
Journalism is something that is so integral to our democracy. That's how we exercise our freedom of speech.
There's a reason journalism is called the fourth estate. Without journalism, without the news, without the media, a lot of people wouldn't know what's going on. They just hear things, say, from their neighbors or their friends.
There's this notion you have as, a 16-year-old journalist that who wants to listen to my voice and who is going to listen to my voice. And RadioActive shows you a lot of people care about what you have to say. And in fact, there are stories that you as a teenage journalist can tell so much better than anybody else just by virtue of your perspective.
It'll open up stories that you've never heard before, or people that you don't know.
He gives younger audience a voice, because a lot of us have a hard time expressing how we feel, because adults may say, well, you're not going to impact everyone's life.
If we have access and we know how to actually be a journalist, I feel like we could really make movement and make waves into actual issues that are happening.
This is our world. This is the next generation of leaders and of lawmakers and everything.
Our generation is looking at the things that are happening right now in the world. It raised the question of who's telling the story.
Young people are really underrepresented in media.
Not only do we need to share our perspective, other young people need to hear from youth.
Really, every single community should have a voice in telling their story.
I got into public radio in my late 20s and early 30s. I was not welcomed with open arms. In fact, I was the opposite. I was told and shown I wasn't really a fit for public radio, right? And I wasn't newsy. I was more creative. I was queer, right? And I was literally told and literally shown, you don't belong here. And that was horrible. And I vowed never to do that. And I vowed the opposite, to embrace people who want to tell their stories. There's power in that.
And that's what RadioActive is all about. I think it's about allowing people to understand the importance and the value that their voice can bring.
Because oftentimes the history that we have is very Eurocentric and whitewashed. And so when we're not able to document and recognize the stories of people who are also living in this day and age, but who aren't being heard, then they're not going to be remembered, and we're not going to have policies or communities that serve them. So I think that journalism is important because our stories are important, and if no one hears our stories, then it's almost as if we're being erased, and it's important to be remembered.
Thank you for watching.
Listen, if you love our stuff
and you want to support local journalism, consider donating to KUOW.
we would love the support, and then that helps us tell these amazing stories from teens about their lives and their experiences. And thank you for your support.